Hey, good afternoon. Sheriff Matt Aller coming at you from the back of the UTV here on the farm in Audrain County, Missouri. I am the Audrain County Sheriff, and it's a beautiful, probably 56 or so degree afternoon here. The snowplow's still on the UTV because, well, tomorrow it may snow a foot. It's Missouri. Today we're going to be talking about a gun that, most guns I buy they don't mean anything to me. They're just a tool, right? So I may keep them a while. I may keep them forever. I may shoot them a little bit, decide I don't like them, may do all sorts of things, and then they may be gone the next week. You never know. But this next gun, tell you a little story. There's a story behind some of these guns, or actually every one of them. But the story behind this one, of course, sun's right in my face because it's late afternoon. The story behind this one is pretty neat. So I became sheriff in 2017. I was elected in 16, took office January 1st, 2017. And I was at a meeting with the county commission shortly after I took office, and the road and bridge supervisor, the county road and bridge guy, the guy that ran the road and bridge department was there. His name was Andy Dollins, and I knew him, but I didn't really know him. So in the hallway while we were waiting on meeting times, we got to talking, and he said, "Hey, have you ever coyote hunted?" I said, "No. Not really. I've watched a little bit of it, and I've talked to guys that have done it. You talking about with dogs, or what are you talking about?" And he said, "No, man, I'm talking about using an electronic call, calling in a coyote." He said, "There's no more fun in the world. You should go with me." So a couple of weeks later, he called me up, and he said, "Hey, I'm on a coyote hunt in the morning." So I went with him, and it was the most fun time ever. If you've never coyote hunted, if you've never called in a coyote with an electronic call, and got to watch that and take part in predator hunting, it is unbelievable. I love it. I do it every chance I get. But anyway, Andy and I got to be pretty good friends. And in, I think, 2020, Andy got diagnosed with cancer. And he was a few years older than me, not much. I think he might have been 52 at the time. Don't quote me on that. But anyway, time went on, and I was sworn in for my second term on January the 3rd, 2021. And that afternoon, actually late that morning, he called me and he said, "Hey, what are you doing?" I said, "I just got done leaving the courthouse. I got sworn in for another go." And he said, "Hey, I need you to do me a favor and stop by my house." Now, I knew Andy was sick and had been undergoing chemo and radiation, and I had not bothered him too much, talked to him a few times on the phone. But I got there, and Andy was there, and he invited me into his home. And I was in uniform, keep in mind. And he said, "Hey, this isn't going real well, and I've got something I want to give you." I said, "Okay." So he had his wife pour me a glass of Blanton's bourbon. He wanted to drink a glass of Blanton's with me, so I sat there in uniform. Only twice have I ever drank in uniform. Once was with my dad the day before he died, and once was with Andy. I had a glass of Blanton's, and we sat there and talked for a little bit, and he had one of the kids go to the gun safe and get a gun out and hand it to me. And he said, "I want you to have this." And I said, "Andy, are you sure about that?" And he said, "Matt, you know me. I like to hunt." He said, "These little short-barreled guns ain't good for nothing but sticking in somebody's gut and pulling the trigger." He said, "If you don't want it, take it and throw it in a pond, but my kids don't need it." I said, "Okay, Andy, I'm not going to throw it in a pond. I'll hang on to it and, figure out something later." So he was happy with that answer, and I walked away from there knowing that I would probably never talk to my friend again alive, and that is exactly what happened. He died 3 days later. So this episode's in memory of Andy. The gun that he had the kids go get out of the safe, unbeknownst to me, because I didn't really look at it. I just threw it on the couch next to where I was sitting and didn't really look at it for several hours. But it's a Smith & Wesson Model 12 Airweight K-frame 38 special. So the Smith & Wesson Model 12 originally started out as the Model 13, which Smith & Wesson developed for the U.S. Air Force. They wanted a lightweight survival gun for pilots and such. And the original had an aluminum frame and an aluminum cylinder. I think maybe 1957-ish. They found out the aluminum cylinder didn't stand up, so I think in late 57 or early 58 they changed to steel cylinder, and Smith & Wesson released a commercial model labeled the Model 12. So this is a 12, no dash. So there's 5 variants: the 12, the 12-1, 12-2, 12-3, 12-4. I've done my best to look up what the 12 no dash consisted of, and I can't really figure it out. It seemed to me that the original 13s and 12s were square butt, but this is a round butt, which they said was standard on the 12-4. But clearly the frame is marked Model 12, no dash. And it also has the flat latch on the side. Smith & Wesson guys know about the flat latch. The flat latch was discontinued in '66. So the best I can date this gun is somewhere between 1958 and 1966. I've not done the research on the serial number. You know, I have no idea how this gun started life. I know that when I talked to Andy about it, I asked him, I said, hey, do you know anything about this gun? And he said, nope, I bought it to keep in the armrest of my pickup and to take on the fishing boat. Andy was a very avid fisherman. And he didn't know much about it beyond that. So I kind of do the same thing with it. So in the summertime, I've got a group of guys that I fish with on my days off and on weekends. And typically, this gun goes right in my back pocket when I'm fishing, and that's where it stays. And then I have a vault in my camper and in my pickup. Camper's at the weekend place, and it stays in there most times. So, I mean, this is kind of relegated to one of those guns that you carry some and you hardly ever shoot. The lockup on it is good and tight. There's no end shake. So my suspicion is this gun was probably carried a bunch, because you can see on the side of the frame there's some wear. Very distinct lock line on the cylinder. There's some wear on the butt. The grips are not in the best shape, but they're not in the worst shape. I've certainly seen worse. But this is probably one of those guns that spent some time in a tackle box, glove box, pocket, something like that, but really never got fired that much. These are not recommended for plus P, so I had to go out and find some standard pressure 38 because I don't really keep a lot of that around. One of the things I found interesting about the Model 12 was all of the Model 12s except the 12-4, except the last variant, were 0.8 of an inch thinner frame-wise. They thinned up the frame, and it had a thinner hammer, and the grip frame was thinner than the standard K-frame. This is a K-frame gun, medium frame gun, so it's a 6-shot gun. I didn't put it on the scale, but according to Smith & Wesson, this gun weighs 17 ounces, which in the 1950s and 60s was almost unheard of. To give you a little reference, this is a 5-shot 38 in a DeSantis ankle holster that I carry quite a bit. Now it's an all-steel gun, but it's a smaller frame. It's a J frame. This gun weighs, I think, 24 ounces, 23, 24 ounces. So a 5-shot 38 of today's vintage weighs less than this Model 12 from the 50s or 60s. So this was pretty revolutionary at the time. And I just think it's a neat old gun. There's not a lot of them around. I owned a Model 12 early in my law enforcement career to carry off duty, but it was a square butt. It was not the round butt. I don't remember what variant it was, if it was -1, -2, -3, I don't remember. It's been I've been in this career I'm in my 30th year. So, but we're going to shoot this gun today and see if we can print it on paper and just kind of have a little fun and see how it shoots. I've never printed this gun on paper, so I've shot it a few times to make sure it goes boom, but short of that, I've never actually put it on a target. So again, the target down there, you can see it behind me. Poor people have poor ways. There's my wife's paper plates again. Eventually she's gonna get mad at me for taking her paper plates away. And then of course, I've still got some of the natural light there across the feed bucket that my kids left from a barbecue. I won't drink that stuff, so I snatch it up out of the garage. It's sitting out in the garage. I snatch a few cans up, bring them out and shoot them because they're fun to watch bounce around. But anyway, we're going to give this Model 12 a go and think about Andy while I'm doing it. And we're going to be shooting standard pressure, 158 grain, just full metal jackets that I happen to find. Nothing special, nothing hot. I certainly don't want to run hot ammo through a gun, through a aluminum frame gun from the 1950s. Now I have read a couple articles where I think a guy took one of these and just abused it something horrible. Put a couple thousand rounds of plus P ammo through it and measured the end shake, and everything was still tight and in spec. So maybe it'll take it, maybe it won't, but I certainly don't want to take that chance. So the first set that I'm going to put on is the first 6 rounds I'm going to do at 7 yards, and I'm going to do it at that top paper plate, and then we'll go take a look. So the recoil from these standard pressure rounds is, I don't know, semi-significant. Part of the problem is the original wood grips are on it, and it doesn't have like a Tyler's T grip here. So it's kind of difficult for me. You can see my middle finger knuckle is behind the trigger guard. So I kind of get a little bit of knuckle bruise from it. You know, whereas this, the more modern grips, your fingers protected by the grip. So recoil was not significant, but it beat up my middle finger a little bit. But I did pull some of them to the left, I think, but a lot of that is not being used to the trigger. The guns that I shoot all the time, I shoot much better, but here you can see there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The sights on that gun, they're typical of the 1950s. 1950s and 60s, in that it's just a notch in the rear cut into the frame and then a really, really thin blade in the front. You got to hunt pretty hard to find it. So let's see how we do with the natural light cans. See if we can smoke a couple of those. So I'm actually about 10 yards right now. I'll probably move up a little closer. Hate to look foolish trying to hit some natural light cans from 10 yards and miss them. Could happen though. Let's see if I can get over here to where you can see them. What do you know? We're 3 for 3. Caught that top one, or caught that first one just at the top of the can. So let me reload the cylinder here and go back and see if I can do single action, cock the hammer and take a little more timed shots on the bottom paper plate and see what kind of group I can put together. May not be very good, but we'll see. Well, one of them went just a little high, and I knew it when I did it. You probably saw me shake my head there on the third shot. I knew when I broke the trigger that I was not where I needed to be. But the other 5 printed just a touch to the left for me. Just to the left on the paper plate, which the ones double action that I shot originally, they kind of printed to the left too, but I kind of chalked that up to maybe pushing the trigger a little too much. But at single action, they still printed to the left a little bit for me. So other than this one high, and I knew it when I did it. So yeah, you can see the old Natty Light can there that's still standing. Caught him right on the top right there. And then the other 2 I caught pretty square. But neat old gun. I kind of wish I'd have kept the first one that I had. I'm not sure. I don't think they have any serious collector value or anything like that. As far as like being worth $1 million, I don't think so. Not from the research I've done. But if you happen to be able to come across one, I can tell you that they're a nice, light, thin gun to carry. And of course, for defensive purposes, what I've always said was the best gun that you can possibly carry is the one that you have with you. And I certainly carry heavier guns than this that have less rounds. This 5-shot, I mean, it's 357 Magnum. It's been Magna-ported. Someday we'll talk about this gun. But there are certainly worse options out there. If you want a K-frame size 6-shot revolver and you want lightweight, if you can find an old Model 12 reasonably priced, it looks to me like they go for, I don't know, $500-600 in the shape this one's in. Certainly would be worth, probably would be worth the money, be worth carrying. I mean, I would certainly not pump a whole bunch of plus P loads through it. Now I load mine with plus P's. That's how it's loaded when it sits. You know, I figure if I've ever got to use it, 6 plus P's are going to be just fine. We're not going to wear that gun out with 6 plus P rounds. But like I said, there was a guy, and I don't remember on one of the forums, that had run either 1,000 or 2,000 plus P rounds through his Model 12, and he measured in shake and dimensions before he started and after, and says there's no difference, and it locks up just as tight. So now it'd be my luck that my gun won't take that abuse. I don't know. But anyway, from beautiful Audrain County, Missouri, this is Sheriff Matt Aller. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Maybe someday we'll make enough money to buy a box of bullets. So anyway, have fun and be safe. If you're in Missouri, man, enjoy this weather, because I don't know how long this is going to last. But have a great day.